Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Connie Douglas. I'm from Great Stampin' with Connie, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada. Welcome to Craft Spot. It's a little bit different today in that I am recording this in advance because I'm not available in my regularly scheduled time slot, but I didn't want you to miss out on some fun crafting. So I am recording this, and this will go live Wednesday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern time. So hopefully you'll be watching it and enjoying it. And I hope that you like what I have to share with you today. So I am going to be focusing on one of our wonderfully pretty packages of designer series paper from the January to April mini catalog. And that is the Fancy Flora. I think that's the name. I'm going to double check because I have it right here. Yes, Fancy Flora. It is 6x6 designer series paper, and it's really nice. It's like art, palette art, stuff that I cannot do, but different colors, pretty colors, lots of gorgeous colors in there. And some are very definitely, they have a look to them like flowers or something. And others are sort of mosaic. Some are very abstract. Some, I might look at and see one thing and you'll look at and see something completely different. And that's the beauty of art, right? We all see it in our own way. So I hope that you like it. And let's get started with some crafting. I will put this down to my workspace. There we go. Okay, so as I said, I am going to be using the Fancy Flora designer series paper, and if you have not seen it really is lovely, and it's quite different from a lot of what we have. Let me just kind of fan this out a little bit. I'm not going to go through each page or anything, but just give you a little bit of an idea of what it's all about there. Because as I say, it is definitely different than something where we have a very definite, a flower or animals or something that we totally recognize. What is this? Well, that's up to your interpretation. But look at those wonderful colors: evening evergreen and soft succulent and splashes of daffodil. And you could probably put mossy meadow in there with that, although it's not one of the colors listed on the package. There are colors that certainly coordinate because there's shades and tones. And you will see that in the crafting that I'm about to do. So I'm just going to set this aside. I will be using this stamp set today, Charming Sentiments. It is in the annual catalog, and it is one that I have really fallen in love with. I didn't get it right away. It came with dies, and I wasn't sure about the dies. I thought, well, maybe I'll wait and I'll think about it. I finally decided that I didn't need the dies because I could fussy cut them if I wanted to have them cut out. But otherwise, for the most part, I would just be stamping them onto a different shape or just right onto a card or something. So I did not get the dies, but I did get the stamp set because I do love so many of the sentiments in here. And we're going to use some of those today. Alrighty, to some crafting. So I have cut 4 card bases. They are all petal pink. And this is where we get into the shades and tones that are not necessarily listed on the package. Petal pink is not a color that is listed on the package. Calypso coral is, and this is very definitely Calypso coral in there, but a very toned down light wash of Calypso coral coordinates just lovely with petal pink. So there we go. So you will see that there's lots of colors in the designer series paper that perhaps are not listed on the package, but do coordinate very, very nicely. I'm just going to give that a crease. And actually, maybe I'll just fold all of these while I'm here. I'll folder out, and then they will be ready to go. These are just standard card bases, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I am going to do all of these cards today landscape. I do make landscape cards, but I probably make more portrait cards. But I just, I sort of had landscape on my brain. And when I was picking out the design that I wanted to use, it was one that was suited to doing them landscape. So, so that's what I'm going to do. So I have cut my cardstock layer, two sizes in. Okay, so normally this is a 5.5. We would cut our first layer at 5 1/4, but I've gone two sort of layer sizes in. So this is 5 by 3 3/4. Okay, so that's just a little bit different. The other thing that I've done, that my designer series paper layer, I have made very narrow. So I've gone just 1/8 of an inch less, not the full 1/4 inch. So this is very narrow for a border. I have to sneeze. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry about that. You just can't help but sneeze, can you? So what this is going to do is give our cards a different look from sort of, I'll say, the standard look. Okay. Now, because this is a very narrow border, and I have cut all of these the same. So there's lots of crossover in today's cards. I'm using different paper on all 4 of them, but I've cut them all the same size. They've all got the same color card base. I've used 2 different sentiments, so they're not all the same sentiment, but I've only used 2. I didn't use 4. So if you need to make, a number of cards for any particular reason, or you want to make a number of cards that are maybe the same, but you just want to change it up a little bit, this is a great way to do it. Pick a design and the layout that you like, but, change out your designer series paper or change out your sentiment or something, okay? This is just going to go right onto here, okay? So I'm just going to layer this down flat. And we'll see, I'm almost out of a Stampin' Seal on this roll, but I have another one waiting in the wings. So we won't be left without sticky stuff. And I do have my liquid glue as well, but tape runner is quick and easy. So I am just going to put that down flat onto there. There we go. And then I am using the Congratulations stamp from our stamp set. It is a photopolymer, so I'm going to bring in this is half of a Stampin' Pierce mat, and I do that just to provide some cushioning for my stamping, because unlike the red rubber, there's no cushioning on the photopolymers. Calypso Coral ink, and I am just going to ink it up. This die cut is from the Ginkgo branch. You may remember I used that last week in Craft Spot as well. And I thought, oh, that will be perfect for this stamp, long and narrow. So that's what I have pulled out again. There we go. And while I'm here, I happen to know that I am using this sentiment for my next card, and I want it in the same color. So while I'm here, there we go. I was going to say, assuming I can find my other piece, I'm just going to go ahead and stamp my second sentiment right now, and then they will both be ready to go. Okay. There we go. All right, so set that off to the side, close my ink pad so that I don't lean in it. Set that to the side, and then we just need to decide where we want this guy. So I'm thinking right down near the bottom, like that might be nice. I'm just kind of keeping it simple. The beautiful paper is the star of the show today. So there's not a whole lot of stamping on these parts. There's not a lot of big pieces. There's just a nice little frame and showing off the beautiful colors and patterns in the designer series paper. It's doing all the heavy lifting so that I don't have to. There we go. How's that for a change, eh? There we go. And I'm going to wait and put embellishments on all of them at the end. But there's card number 1. Okay, we'll bring it down just a little bit, get it back into the camera. Alrighty, second card. Very similar, same card base. Early espresso for my layer, cut exactly same size, but a different designer series paper this time. So liquid glue, even this back, you could stamp right on that. You could stamp an image or something right on there. Can you see? It's just sort of textured looking. This paper is just, I mean, it is lovely, but I'll suggest perhaps for those of us that are not necessarily trained in art, some of it, when I first looked at it, it was sort of like, well, that's interesting. What would I do with that? But, you know, as I look at it more and I play with it a little bit, I see different things and I have more ideas on, you know, like that back one. Okay, it's texture. Celebrate the texture on that paper. Stamp right on there. Put a picture right on it. There's another one that I pulled out when I was looking for what to do, and I'm not going to use it today. Let's give you a little peek at it. I pulled this one out and I thought, oh my goodness. So here's like the sea or the water, the lake or whatever, maybe at sunset and then shimmering up into the lighter sky, but the colors. And so I'm thinking, okay, so now I need, you know, maybe I do a boat on here or something water related. I don't know yet. I'm still, you know, it's seeping into my brain, and I'm going to ponder that a little bit. But when I looked at that paper before, I didn't see that. I had not seen that. So, you know, as I say, as you look more, you start to see different things and you start to have different ideas. I always say you have to sort of roll around in things to figure out what you want to do with them. So now I'm just putting, I think I want this one down here as well, but I'm not sure if I want it over the light or if I want to flip this around. Look at that, tricky. Oh no, I don't think so. See, when you're not sure, you're just looking. I was just sort of looking at this as it was sitting here thinking, oh, do I want it like that or do I want it flipped? And I couldn't tell. But when I put this down, it's like, yeah, that could work. And do I want it, or do I want it like this? It's like, no, nope, doesn't work like that. At least not to my eye. You know, beauty again in the eye of the beholder. So there may be some of you watching this going, oh yes, yes, I like it like that. So I apologize. I'm not making it that way because my eye does not see it that way. So I am going to make it this way. Of course, if I have my card base upside down and it opens the other way, then guess what? All you people that liked it upside down would win, but I did not. So we're good. Okay. I think we would all be lying if we say that we have never made a card backwards. Or either that or you're new to crafting, and in which case I will tell you to get ready because you will make a card backwards at some point. And then we always joke and say it's for our left-handed friends, and, you know, something, but it will happen. Okay. So there we go. Second card, all done. So now we're going to change gears a little bit, and we are going to use Orchid Oasis for our cardstock layer. Same sizing. As I said, I'm doing everything the same way, but this paper had the Orchid Oasis in it, so I thought I would switch it out. Also, partly because it did not have any brown, so the early espresso was not really going to work with it. So, okay. But there's another reason why the Orchid Oasis is a a good choice, and I will share that with you in just a moment. Okay, this down on here. Now, this is another one where my paper is more patterned on one side than the other. So I'm going to have to make a choice about which direction I want it to go. And I suppose I could even consider doing this portrait, although I told you I was going to make them all landscape tonight, so I should stick with what I told you. Be a liar. Liar, liar, pants on fire, or anything like that. Okay, here's my card base. So I can set it down like this. I'm just going to set it down like this, and then we'll play with which direction we go in just a moment. I'm going to bring in, this time I'm using the wishing you everything wonderful sentiment. And you will notice, ta-da, look, it's already stamped. It's already been die cut. It is mounted on an Orchid Oasis base. And you'll say, wow, she was fast. How did she do that? Okay, I didn't really do it tonight. I certainly didn't do it just now. When I hosted my girls' getaway weekend a couple weeks ago, I made boxes as one of the gifts that I gave to everyone that attended. Boxes. They came with some Stampin' Up! Supplies in them, but when you took the supplies out, they were sized perfectly to hold cards. And I used this sentiment as the decoration on the top of the box. So I had it all set up on my Stamparatus. I did all my die cutting of my white pieces. And then I sat down and it was like, okay, stamp, 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 stamp. Made a whole bunch of them. And then I realized that I was using different colored designer series paper to make my box lids. And they didn't all have Orchid Oasis in them. So I now have a number of sentiments stamped in Orchid Oasis, mounted on Orchid Oasis, that have no home. So guess what? Every time I'm using Orchid Oasis for the next little while, this is going to be the sentiment, and it's going to be mounted on Orchid Oasis, die cut exactly like this, and you'll see it. So, but it's a wonderful sentiment, so it'll be okay. It'll work. So now I could put this to this edge. I could put it down to the bottom. I could, I could be that liar and turn it this way, although, because this is smaller. Well, that does work. I do like it. Oh. What do we think? I like that. I don't think I want it like this. Well, I could, then it would be different from those, wouldn't it? This one is not as easy as the last one. Okay, I'm gonna rule this out. I don't like that. I don't love that. So let's leave that one out. But you know what? I don't love this, I don't think. So we're gonna leave that one out. And now so now we have either portrait like this or landscape like this. That's a tough one. It could go either way. Now I need to go cut another piece of this paper and do this exact same thing and do one in portrait and one in landscape. And then I can post them both and see which one people prefer. Mine. Okay, let's just get the show on the road. It'll work either way. But you know what? I think I'm gonna stick with we're doing everything landscape tonight. So we will just stick with that, because sometimes we overthink our card making so much, and at the end of the day, it's lovely either way. Either choice would work. Either choice would make a lovely card. And once you've made it and you show people, they will never know that you were considering another design or another pattern or another layout or any of those things. So just, just get the crafting on the go. Don't worry about it, because it will be lovely. just a tiny bit lower. My cat is, he's in the craft room, which means he's found a new toy box because there's so many toys in the craft studio. Right there, card number 3. One more. So this last one, again, is using Orchid Oasis cardstock, and this one, so a little different. This one is more flower-like, and this is more like the palette knife. So a little bit different. And look at that. Isn't that pretty? Oh my goodness. You could do this either direction. Oh, because look, that would be nice. But I'm going to stick with, I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to make that choice. I'm just going to use the side that I initially planned to use. Seems sort of criminal putting adhesive on this side, though, doesn't it? They're both so lovely. So I use liquid adhesive when I have a narrow border because it gives me just a moment to kind of move my paper around a little bit to make sure I have all my edges even. It's a little bit trickier to do that if you are using the tape primer with from your Stampin' Seal. Okay, now I think I should check this before I stick it down. My sentiment. What do we think? Like that, then I can see the two pieces. Here's another one that could, no, could go this way. But we're sticking portrait. Okay, we're just going to stick with our original plan to be portrait. And I think I'm going to put this down. Oh, could go up. Okay, I'll figure that out in a moment. I'm going to put it on this way. And then we need to see where we want it without overthinking it. Okay. Go. And now down in the bottom, up in the top, maybe up in the top. Then it'll be different, right? So we've got bottom left, we'll have top left, and these two are both in the same spot. They're both bottom right, but that's okay. They didn't all have to be different. It was not a requirement. Get this on straight. There we go. So there are our 4 cards. Now we just need to get some gems going. So I have pulled out, these are the 2022 to 2024 in color matte decorative dots, and those are in Orchid Oasis. And then I have these fun flower resin shapes because these are Calypso Coral. And I was thinking that these would go very nicely on here, on either one. And then I found these as well, the Brush Metallic adhesive back dots. And these actually coordinate quite nicely with this as well. So I do like those with that. But I like these flowers, the flowers on the flowery things. Oh, see, too many choices. Okay, you know what? I'm going to start with these because there's fewer choices, less I need to think about. Although there is ombre stuff going on here, right? So there are still some choices. So I'm just going to grab one of these. And I think we're just going to plunk a couple of these down here as well. Whoop. There we go. That'll work for that one. And coming over to here, maybe we'll do something a little darker. Do this dark guy. Okay. And then Oh, it blends, almost blends right in, doesn't it? You just think it's another dot on the paper. Okay, so set those aside, and then decisions. Okay, I am going to put one of these. I don't know about that shape. I like them. They coordinate well. Maybe on this card that doesn't have the flowers. Okay, we're just going to do it. Except that I just stuck it to my paper. Come down here. And I think that'll work. Okay, I think I'm going to try these for this, and I think maybe just a couple on the ends. So maybe just use these bigger ones and put it right at the end there. Just to kind of frame my sentiment. Okay, we are gemmed and jeweled. So this was the first one. Oops. Okay, our gems on. Here's the second one. We've got the little flower gems going on. And then we did this guy. And this last one. So set these out here again so you can see them. There we go. I will come back in here. So those are the cards for today. I hope you like them. The Fancy Flora Designer Series paper it's lovely, it's pretty, and when you start to play with it, as I say, the more you look at it, the more you play with it, the more you start to see different patterns, your brain sort of absorbs it and comes up with different ideas, ways that you can use it. So lots and lots of fun. I strongly recommend you get yourself a package and have a play. Maybe you'd like to try this design. This certainly shows off the beautiful colors and the pretty patterns in the paper. So thank you so much for stopping by and joining me on Craft Spot and my crafting adventure. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like the cards and you'll give them a try. I look forward to crafting with you again really soon. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.